My theory is that this movie is going to end with specifically Reed realizing that he can't save his world, and so he has to save his family instead and his pregnant wife. And so he saves the FF and Herbie, hopefully Herbie, and shoots them out into the multiverse. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Comic Room Podcast, episode 39.
39.
It
wow.
has been a couple weeks. We miss you guys.
Yeah. A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. We're behind. We're behind on show and tell.
That's the hard part because it's been 2 weeks since we recorded and 2 weeks since you've been around.
Yeah.
And so in the absence of that, I've gone on a shopping binge and so I have so many things I want to show, but I can only show one.
You missed me that much. You had to do shopping.
I was
therapy.
lonely, so I shopped. I went on a run, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of show and tell. I mean, I have a stack of books right there. A handful of stuff.
You got books,
that I got
you got
on
toys.
my travels.
You've been to the mecca of global manufacturing. You were in China.
Yeah. So I didn't say where I was before, just because I don't know. I was like weirded. I didn't know what to expect when I got there. So I was like, I'm just playing it safe. But yeah, I was in China we were gone for a total of 11 days. We were in China for like more than half of that. And then we went to Tokyo for like 4 days, 2 full days, and then 2 like travel days. Yeah, it's a different world. Totally different world.
I've never been to either of those countries, and I really, really want to at least go to Japan. And so I have you to thank because your reports back to my wife, Debbie, have softened her on the possibility of going to Tokyo, and she's up for it now. So,
yeah. So I've been to Manila, the Philippines, which is that's like Southeast Asia, but that was like different. That's like it's a third world country, and to this day, I've been to quite a few places, traveled quite a bit. I haven't been everywhere, but definitely the most traveling I've ever done in my life in like the last 3 years.
yeah,
Manila in the Philippines is the most hospitable place I've ever been to, ever. The people are like genuinely kind. And there was like, I think because they have such an affection for like American culture, there's like a little bit of like Western lifestyle in the way that they live in Manila. That probably might not be true for like the other islands of the Philippines that are a lot more like rural and but in Manila there was definitely a lot of like Western influence, and they're like huge Kobe fans, so like they're big Laker fans out there in the Philippines, and it was cool. But China and Japan is like a lot different, like very Eastern. Even like when we were hanging out with people, like something we don't ever like talk about in America, but they were like mentioning how their lifestyle is very much like rooted in like Confucianism. And I was like, oh yeah, like we don't really think of like that. Like we're more, would it be like Socrates? What does it say? Like, I think, therefore I am.
Yeah. We're more, we're more off the Roman, Greco-Roman, or Judeo-Christian philosophy, ideology, way of thinking. And the Eastern is very divergent from that. Yeah.
They're very family, very, very family oriented, very, respectful towards elders.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of that kind of lacks in our Western culture.
Is it? And like I said, I've never been to China. Is it? It seems to me China is a more formal culture than maybe it is here.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But it was cool. I mean, we went for business. So we had, I know 2 Chinese words. That's it. Ni hao and xie xie.
I don't know any. So there you go.
Ni hao is hello and xie xie is thank you. So that's all I know. That's all I had time to know. And so, basically I was pointing to order food. If we didn't
showing pictures on your phone, this is what I want.
If we didn't have a local with us, I was just pointing, and it was is interesting being in a very censored country. My phone was a brick upon landing. They have versions.
Wow.
They have versions of everything that we have, but they don't have what we have. They have their own Instagram. They have their own YouTube. They have their own Twitter. Like they have all these things, but our versions are all banned. So my phone, like, and VPN, like, you can get around a lot of things with VPN, but most of the time my VPN just didn't work. Like in China, like. So it was like I couldn't get around.
Yeah, good luck outsmarting the Chinese, man.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. It was interesting. Like I could like sometimes like Instagram Messenger would work, but I couldn't load new Instagram posts.
Okay.
So it was like things like that. Like yeah, same with Facebook. Like my Facebook Messenger worked. Like my mom sends me like Facebook reels and stuff. But I couldn't like update. Like I couldn't populate what she sent me on my phone. But I could see that she sent me new stuff.
That's
so I don't
interesting.
But I think like messaging works. I don't know.
I could understand that. The only time I've ever experienced anything like that is when I've been in Italy a couple of years ago, and TikTok just isn't available in Italy.
Oh yeah.
Just isn't. It's gone.
Yeah.
You know.
It was weird. TikTok didn't work when we landed, but then like halfway through the trip, it started working. I got
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
It was so confusing.
ByteDance is Chinese company, so
yeah, but they have their own version.
they have their own. Yeah, that's right. And that's I know their own version has to be different.
Yeah,
a lot different than.
So,
yeah, the restriction of information is. I've never really been in a society that does that.
Yeah, but I bring up that censorship part because I was trying to find comics in China, like because there was quite a few, or there was a couple working days that my wife had where it just left me to roam around the city. And so I was looking for comics, and you cannot find American comics in China. I mean, whatever American comics are in China are in the homes of collectors that buy them from eBay or like wherever. Yeah. But I went into bookstores. I went into anime stores. They have some manga. They have their own version of manga, which I think is like manhua or something like that. But no American. I didn't see a single. I mean, aside from I went to a Hot Toys store. Aside from that, I didn't see Marvel or DC properties anywhere else. But the Hot Toys store was really cool. I mean, that's where they're all manufactured and stuff. And so, oh man, I could have blew a bag in that store.
I bet. Yeah.
I think I brought a pair of rain boots because it was supposed to rain, and it never ended up raining. So I think if the weather wouldn't have indicated rain, I would have had a spot for one more Hot Toy, and I probably would have done it. Yeah.
Well, you'll have to break the Hot Toy out that you did buy. If not this time, next time.
Yeah, but next time it'll be set up behind me.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. So,
well, welcome back. It's good to have you back in town, man.
Thank you. Yeah. So
my wallet couldn't handle you being away much longer.
So yeah, and then I went to Japan and went to some cool collectible stores, some vintage stuff, and I found one comic shop. And,
nice.
And I come bearing gifts.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah.
But you already gave me gifts. He already gave me like his cool set of chopsticks, his cool Starbucks mug, and a sushi fridge magnet.
Yeah, but those were like tchotchkes.
Okay. All right.
So I think this one actually was like hit the shelf. I'm pretty sure you might have even bought it. I don't know, but these are all English. It's this last one that's like cool. But this one, I just had to get it because I figured, I mean, I know it's here in the States, but to bring you back a Peach Momoko where she's from Japan. So
wow, yeah.
There's that. And
nice. That's cool.
This next one, maybe this last one might not be in English. I'm not 100% sure. But this next one is everyone knows you love Catwoman. And we've talked about this artist, Juan Tedesco.
Yes, we have.
And so I've never seen this cover. I don't know if you have it or not, but here you go.
I do not have this cover.
Yeah, so...
wow, I love it.
Those two, I mean, you could probably go into your local comic shop and find these.
Yeah, but these I'll always know you got for me in Tokyo, or was it Tokyo?
Yeah.
That's a great cover.
Yeah. And so this last one is a exclusive cover to the shop that I went
In
to.
Japan? For
in
real?
Japan, yeah. So the name of the shop was Blister Comics. And so
What? Dark Knight, Master Race, Dark Knight 3, book 1. Check this out, you guys.
thank you. Yeah, so Blister Comics was the name of the comic shop.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Thanks for thinking of me. I didn't expect you to do anything
Yeah.
like this. It's hard to bring comics back on an airplane.
That is.
It's
But I
really
did it.
tough. You pulled it off. This is really cool.
Yeah, I went there on it was Superman Day. So I got all the free Superman comics. So I wasn't in town at my LCS, but I got the Superman.
Oh, look at that. All-Star Superman.
Yeah, so it was the it's all in English, but yeah, it's the I think it was last Saturday was Superman Day. So I missed it at my LCS, but I got it in Japan.
Wow, I missed it here too. These are cool, man. Thank you very much.
So
I've never seen this. I've never seen this Peach FF. I guess I must have been asleep at the wheel because that's a really cool
yeah,
cover.
I think it came out like last week or the week before.
Oh, okay. This has been a really busy few weeks for me.
Or maybe it's not in stores. Maybe it's a Japan exclusive. I don't know.
And that is,
Yeah, that's cool. That one's beat a little bit, but
I don't. It's all about the cover.
yeah.
Condition is secondary. It's not. I wouldn't say it's beat. I mean, it looks pretty nice to me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And
Very
then the
cool.
exclusive. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
The
you're
exclusive
welcome.
is. I'm gonna have to put this on display.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I want to open it. I want to look inside.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no
That's
problem.
awesome. Wow.
all right. Now show and tell time.
Show and tell.
It's
All
been
right.
a few weeks.
Man, this one's been. I've waited a long time for this one to show you because it arrived. I think it might even have arrived before you left, and I just had to wait.
All right, crack it open. Do I know about this book?
I think I told you, but I don't think I told you what it was.
Oh, okay.
Specifically,
He's been keeping secrets. He's been like, I bought a book. I can't tell you about it.
it's so much fun. That's part of what's fun about it. Oh, I'm gonna bust this out on the show and tell.
So now, as it's a surprise to you guys, now it's a surprise to me.
So here's the book. I've been on a major golden age run lately, and as you guys know, I've never really gotten over having to sell my Human Torch 23 years ago. Probably would have come back in like an 8.0 in that kind of condition. Schomburg robot cover, the whole thing. Human Torch issue number 6.
Wow.
Now, it's a 1.0 with brittle pages, but I want you to take a look at this book and you tell me if that cover looks like a 1.0 to you. Now, it's a 1.0 because the spine is completely split and separated. So you really have the cover is two separate pieces. Perhaps, maybe it could have, but I mean, look at the cover. It's gorgeous. Talk about a good looking book.
That's like the cover. Man, if it's not split, this is like a minimum a 6.0 cover.
Right? And that is 1941. Human Torch issue 6, you guys.
Yeah,
A little foxing on the back.
if it was complete with the foxing, this is probably a 6.0. Like maybe like a 6.0 floor, a 7.0 ceiling.
and so when you're talking about a book that you want to display, I bought this on
Wow.
I think it was, I'm not sure which of the consignment sites it was. I'd have to double check, but that's where I found it. And normally it's a 1.0, oh man, but I looked at it and I thought that's the prettiest looking 1.0 I've ever seen. The colors, it's Schomburg cover. So it's 1.0, brittle pages, Human Torch. There are only 60 universal grades of this book on Census. And I didn't have now any more timely golden age because of that whole Human Torch I sold. But there's something else about this book that I want you to notice. It's really interesting. Look at the dudes in the lower left corner. just real fast. Just let your eyes go past.
Left or right?
Right corner. Let your eyes just kind of go past just quickly. What does it remind you of?
Well, when you were holding it from there, it looked like Doombots.
Yeah, it looks like Doombots. Look, it's the green, basically like a toga or something.
Yeah.
Not a toga, but a green hood cape with the pointy hood on the top, and the face. Even though it's, for Doom, it's a mask. The face, you could say, right, kind of looks like Doom.
Yeah.
But check it out. This is what it says right beneath it. In the little banner, it says, "Into Doom Dungeon plunged the Human Torch."
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a coincidence, or perhaps a secondary inspiration on Stan Lee, who we know was writing for Timely at that time.
Yeah. Huh.
Will I ever be able to get any info on this? Probably not.
Yeah.
It's certainly, it's been 80 years. I don't think I'm going to be the one to discover it's a Doom prototype, but I mean, check it out, you guys.
Yeah.
There we go. Does that not look like Dr. Doom there in the lower right corner? And then it says Doom Castle or whatever it says. I don't know. There's something interesting about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So this now vaults to probably the top of my list as my favorite books. Even though it's only a 1.0, it doesn't look like a 1.0.
Yeah.
And the colors are just unbelievable.
Where'd you get it?
Off of either I got off of Elite or At Last. I think it was At Last. I think that was it.
On a post or?
Yeah, it was a consignment.
Wow.
And I
bought a pickup.
And I made an offer, and he took it, accepted it, and I was. It's one of those books where you spend a little bit of money on it, but there's no way you're going to regret it. Like this is. It's just the colors are just insane.
Yeah,
the colors.
It's a beautiful book.
Yeah, so I'm so proud of this book. I'm so happy about this book, and so I couldn't wait to show you, but I had to wait to show you.
Yeah.
So anyway,
nice. Yeah, that's what, like, same thing, like why I bought that Daredevil 2. It's a 3.5, but it's got the cover of a 7.0.
Yep.
It's just, that one's half split. So, I mean, look at that. You're a half non-split away from being a 3.5. So
yeah, I mean, for real, it's a banger of a book for sure.
Yeah. So, wow, what a really cool piece. All right, my turn.
Yeah, let's see what you got for me.
So, I had a CGC submission come in while I was gone, which you thankfully were able to be here and sign for me.
They tried to trick us.
Yeah, they did.
FedEx said they were coming by 9:45, and they showed up at like 9:20.
Yeah,
but I happened to be here.
Yeah, thankfully. That would have sucked.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not an X-Men collector. I've just never. I have one other Silver Age X-Men book that's graded. It's the one with Magneto. I think it's X-Men 43. It's a 9.0 white page. Like, it's a really high grade.
Yeah.
I just got really lucky. Excuse me. And yeah, I just don't collect X-Men. But I had a friend, Katsu Comics, who was just scrolling Facebook Marketplace where he lives down in Texas, and came across this post of this person selling some Silver Age books for essentially nothing. And he was like, well, I'm either going to get scammed or I'm going to like get a crazy deal. And so they lived like a little far away. So he paid for them to be shipped, which, you're adding like more, like it's kind of sus.
Yeah.
And this person, he bought it, paid for it, whatever. They shipped it. He got it. He sent me pictures. And there was like a few books that were like really high grade. And then a couple other books that were like mid grade. And this is a Wanda cover, top 10 X-Men. And I mean, he looked at it and he sent me the picture. He was like, what do you think? Like, what do you think it grades at? And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, like it's probably like a 6.57, at least just from like a photo. And then he sent me a picture of the pages and I was like, oh, that has a shot of white pages. So then that's when I was like, are you selling it? Like, how much you want for it?
How much?
So then we went on to negotiate and came on a price. And this is X-Men issue number 7. It came back a 7.5 white pages.
Ooh.
Which it's not noted, but this is the 3rd appearance of Wanda, I think. I don't think she's in issue 6. Maybe she is, but yeah. I mean, I didn't expect this.
And that's the first blob, right?
Second blob.
Second blob? Okay.
Yeah. I was worried that I wasn't even gonna get a 7. Like I started because I couldn't press this thing, and I don't do humidifier stuff. I just do like very basic press and clean. But these, like, there's a couple of spine ticks here. I just couldn't flatten it out. I pressed it a few times, and I was like, well, all right, it's probably gonna be a 6.0, in which case I'm gonna like lose money on it. No biggie. Like, it is what it is. And 7.5, I couldn't believe it.
I see that.
I couldn't believe it.
Talk about sharp colors. You know, with these early X-Men, you see a lot of red, you know, and the trade dress behind like that. And you know, much like with Daredevil 1, that red or Giant Size X-Men 1, same thing, is the first thing to fade.
Yeah.
But this right here looks crisp and fresh.
Yeah.
Like it just came off the newsstand. Like how was this thing cared for all these years? 1964, and it really does look like you could have come off the newsstand.
Yeah.
And the white pages.
Yeah.
White pages? 7.5 white pages. So you this is going in your collection then?
Yeah.
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 It has to.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, it's genuinely rare. Like when you get a book this clean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna show another book because I don't think I'm gonna do a full
All right.
show and tell on it, but I want to like kind of talk about something and connect it with this. So 1 sec.
You guys remember the Batman 42 that I picked up, the one with the Catwoman cover? I got that back from CGC. It was I was hoping for a 2 or a 2.5, came back a 1.8. So I was really disappointed. I lost money on that exchange, but nonetheless, it looks pretty sweet in the case.
Yeah.
But I didn't bring that for show and tell today.
So this one, I got this at WonderCon, which hopefully the video will be out this Thursday or Friday. So you guys will see this before you even see the next episode. So I'll just talk about it briefly because these two, they're both the same issue number. So this is FF issue 7. This is a 5.5 white pages. I got this for a crazy deal at WonderCon. And I bought it. If it was off-white to white pages, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But I bought it because it was white pages and is a top 10 FF. And so
gorgeous.
let me show you guys. Just a gorgeous book.
Sue Storm's hairdo in this one is so classic early 60s. The UFO.
Yeah, this is
Planet
one of your
X.
first show and tells.
Yes, I love that book.
As you can see behind me, I have Daredevil 1 through 9 up. Oh no. Daredevil 1 through 8 is up. Sorry. I have issue number 9 in where all my slabs are. And then I don't have an issue number 10. I had an issue number 10, but I never got it graded. For 7, 8, 9, and 10, I'm looking for like specifically to have the Daredevil custom label on it. So I've been holding out for it to find an issue 10 with a custom label. No luck yet. But yeah, anyways, this is one of my first collecting things. When I bought the raw copy, I was like, well, I did it. I got Daredevil 1 through 10. And then I got this one. I was like, oh, sweet, X-Men 7. Or actually, I got this one first. So I'll start with this. So I got this. I was like, oh, cool, FF7, 5.5 white pages. Oh, I also have FF6 white pages.
Uh-oh.
And I have FF5. And I have FF3. So I'm 40% of the way through getting the top 10 FF. And 8, 9, and 10 really, there's nothing significant. Oh, wait, I have
First
10.
Puppet Master is issue 8.
I have 10. I have FF10. So I have 50% of. Yeah. And actually, I just saw a white page of FF8. copy. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So, anyways, so I'm like, oh, I'm 50% of the way to FF10. Now that's a hard one. That's harder to get than Daredevil 1 through 10 because I mean, I have.
But you do have 5.
Yeah, I have 5, which is a big one. 4 is like probably the next biggest expensive one, and then the big one is FF1, of course. But I was like, dang, I'm 50% of the way through. So then I'm like, okay, cool, no worries. I get this back from CGC, and it's like my first top 10 X-Men. Then I'm like, well, wait a second.
Here we go.
I'm gonna get X-Men 4.
You know you get an X-Men
because
4.
it's the first appearance.
Wanda, yeah.
And then I'm gonna get X-Men 5 because it's the second appearance.
Yeah.
And I've had X-Men 6 before. That's the first Juggernaut, I
See,
think.
this is how we become run fillers. This is exactly how it happens.
So then I'm like, do I start collecting top 10s of the Silver Age like main titles?
That's crazy. That would be quite an adventure to go on. I mean, what do you guys think? Should he go for top 10 of everything, or should you do like, look, I'm just going to get the keys because then you could. Yeah. I think you go for the top 10.
Yeah. The hardest one I think that would be is ASM. ASM 1 through 10 is expensive because it's the first appearance of everybody.
Yeah.
ASM 1 is, that book is expensive.
Yeah.
And then ASM 2 through 10, draw a hat for which villain makes their first appearance.
Yes, but wouldn't it be cool?
It would be super cool.
Like, I think you could do it. Like, okay, but and the Hulk. So, okay, let me ask you, what would you do with the Hulk? Because you're gonna get 1 through 6.
I would get 1 through 6.
But then what do? Do you get was it Tales to Astonish 7, 8, 9? How does that work? I don't think there is such a thing.
No, I would do 1 through 6
and just be done with it.
Yeah.
So that's easier outside of Hulk 1.
Yeah.
2 through 6 is not hard to get.
No.
And not
I think
too
those
expensive.
are sleeper books.
I agree.
Because the same print run like as 1.
Yeah.
Maybe even less.
There's a steep. There is for all these Mount Rushmore ones between 1 and 2, but 2 through 6 is they're affordable.
Yeah, and they're just as rare. Yeah.
And two because of a printing issue still is the first green Hulk.
Yeah,
and an odd. Unless you count. Well, no, never mind.
I think 2 through 6 are going to be harder to find than X-Men 2 through 10, FF 2 through 10. Definitely Daredevil 2 through 10. Maybe I don't see a lot of ASMs like 2 through 10 on the market.
Avengers won't be hard.
No.
So you're talking about, it should be X-Men, Avengers, Fantastic Four. Oh, what about Journey into Mystery? Would you go 83 through, because that would be kind of cool too. 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. You already have 88.
No, I don't think I would do Journey into Mystery.
Okay.
Just because it's not like it didn't start something.
Yeah, you could absolve yourself of having to deal with that.
Yeah, thing. Because that comes from way before.
Yeah, so if we do that, now you're stuck with, what are you going to do? Tales of Suspense, 39 to 49.
No.
Tales to Astonish, 35 to 45? Or no, 27 to 37?
No, it would be like FF, like what FF started.
Okay.
That's I guess what the idea would be.
So then, okay, so there's just like 4 or 5 titles.
Yeah.
But I mean.
Yeah.
But the FF1 and the Hulk 1 especially.
ASM 1. ASM 1 is expensive.
It is, but it can't, whatever it is, it's overvalued.
I do think it's a little,
because it's not first appearance. Sorry, it shouldn't come anywhere close to FF1 or Hulk 1.
I'm going to
AF15 is the king because it's the first appearance, but Spider-Man 1, it's the first run of the title, but it's not his first appearance. Sorry.
Second appearance and first FF crossover.
I'm saying it's not an amazing book. I would love to have the book.
Yeah, like a 1.8. 1.8 sold for $4,800 in January of 2025.
Okay, that's the next question then. What
1.5 sold for $4,900 in March. So 1.0 $4,300.
So they're not terribly out of this realm of possibility. So when you're talking about these types of key books, Mount Rushmore, Silver Age books, what condition would be your low level of entry, if there is even a low level? Was there any, would you say 0.5 and up, I'll do it? Or would you want something at least a 1.5?
Like with the,
or is it more like, well, what is the eye appeal?
Wow. In ASM 1, Okay, no, a 1.8 is for FF1 last sold for 8.1 thousand for FF1 and a 1.8. 1.5, 6.2K in March 2025, and a 1.0, 4.8K in April. That's all for FF1. So I'd probably be at like a 1.0, 1.5 for FF1. And then, but that's crazy because, yeah, the 1.0 on the ASM one goes for, I mean, and the difference between 1.0, 1.5 and 1.8, I mean, on the FF1, like those are big gaps.
Yeah.
But on the ASM one, it's all like the 1.5 and the 1.8 and the 1.0, those are all going for like the same 4K range. So it holds a little bit stronger at the bottom. But
yeah. Ah, man, that you just articulated why I'm not and haven't pulled the trigger on a Fantastic Four 1 Golden Record reprint. Because sure, I could get a nice one. I've seen them for, 4, 5, 7, $800 for like a really, but it would never really, I would never be satisfied with it.
yeah.
And I would rather just get a 1.0 FF1 for $3,000 more, even though that's crazy to say, like it's 3,000 is nothing, but then I would have it. You know what I mean? The real thing.
You could do it though. I mean,
It could be done.
You have a lot of slabs. You have a lot of big books. A lot of big books that I think that you're probably more willing to move on with than you think you are. That's what I think.
I don't know, man. That Tech 31 that I've had all these years, I don't think I'm ready to sell that one yet.
Because I mean, you've already done a better job in my last couple of sales selling books.
I have. And you know what? I don't miss them.
Yeah, exactly.
It has really helped, you know?
And that's what I realized is like I sold my 227. I don't really miss it. I mean, I still want it, but I want the right book. I don't miss that book in particular.
Right.
I like even if I got like a 5.5, even a 5.0, like a 5.0 to a 6.0 white pager.
Yeah.
I want that way more than the 6.5 that I had.
Yeah. What of my slabs you think I should sell? Like, when you think about those? Because I got a lot of FF slabs. I'm not going to sell those, right? That doesn't make sense because I'm collecting the FFs.
I mean, maybe. I mean, your Green Lantern, Green Arrow run.
Oh. that man. Okay, I sent a bunch of stuff to CGC, and when it comes back, I will have completed the entire Neil Adams, Denny O'Neil, Green Lantern, Green Arrow run slabbed, beginning with 76 and an 8.0.
Yeah.
And I sold one that would have come back like a 7.0 years ago. And I didn't regret that one. That book, I loved that book. But the other ones, yeah, probably I'd be okay.
Yeah.
If I just held that one.
Yeah, totally.
And say, this is the one I have.
I mean, I was telling you just before we started recording, I was like, I've kind of been thinking about moving on from my Daredevil 1 through 10, or keeping 1, 2, and 7, but moving on from the rest.
But now you're talking 1 through 10 of all of them.
Yeah, so now it's like, what do I...
Or does it catch a release? Do you do it like that? Do you just say, all right, I'm going to take a picture of me, and all my 1 through 10 slab Daredevils, and then I'm going to put that picture in a frame, and I'm going to keep issue 1, issue 7, or whatever ones you want to keep of that run, and then you just sell the rest, and you move on to the next one. You can definitely do that.
Yeah.
See, I'm angling. You know why I'm doing this, you guys? Because my thought is, if I can get him eventually to come around and do the same thing for his Fantastic Four run, then I see an opportunity to get some major upgrades. Like, I really like my FF whatever 7. Which one? What issue is this one? 7?
7, yeah.
But mine is not a 5.5 white pager. So if someday you're ready to liquidate all but your key FFs, well, then if you're ready to liquidate, then you won't want to trade. But you might trade with me and then sell the other ones.
I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, I didn't necessarily buy this to keep. I didn't necessarily buy it to sell either.
Yeah.
I bought it because it's white pages.
I just can't believe the deal you got on that.
And I got a crazy deal.
Yeah.
The guy even said, I mean, he was a good friend of the channel, of my not of the podcast, but of my other content.
Yeah.
Blue Chip.
Yeah.
And
you bought this and another book at the same time, right? You bundled them.
Yes, I can't say which other book.
I'm not gonna say. I don't remember which.
You didn't even know. Yes, because that's for the video. Actually, no, I didn't bundle them. I bought the other one, and then I saw this after, and I was like, whoa, wait.
Oh man.
And then I pull off the wall, and then I was like,
Yep.
I saw the price, and it was a fair price, like fair price where it's at. And then his sticker, I looked at it. I asked him if I could see it. Looked at it, and I was like, "Would you do?" I don't even remember. I have it written down, but I don't remember. And then he was like, he's like, "Bro, you're killing me." He's like, "You see this sticker?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "This means if any of my guys sell below that price, they're done for." He said sarcastically. He's like, "This is our absolute bottom." And then he was like, "But for you," I think he told me to come up like $5 or $10, like nothing crazy. And then I was like, done.
Hey, well, it pays to have good relationships with the people in the community.
Yeah, I bought some big books from him before, and yeah, I mean, people have commented on my videos like other stuff related to other types of business that he does. But as far as my relationship with him, I've bought big books from him, and I've been pleased.
I think my FF7 is a 3.5. Pretty sure it's a 3.5, and it's a solid looking book, but it's not a 5.5.
Yeah, and it's not white pages.
Ooh-wee.
Top 10 white pages is that's crazy.
Yeah.
To me, that's crazy.
It is.
But that's kind of what I want. A little bit of my reputation on like selling to be like, oh, he brings
the unique.
He brings the good stuff. Like,
a nice number is great, but it's also white pages.
Yeah,
yeah. That's
like this. Days in white pages.
I think I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to try to get all my books in brittle pages. there are fewer comics graded brittle than there are white. So based on the scarcity.
All right. Well, that was a fun little some actual comic talk. I know sometimes we get distracted by the movies and TV shows, but
yeah, you can tell we've not had a chance to chat for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. All right. So we missed a lot of news. So we got some news here. There was a lot that happened, so let me go through the quick news first, and then we'll go to the FF trailer, and then into the oh no, we already talked about the Superman one. Okay, here we go.
Meanwhile, I've just checked the Warriors have climbed to within 3 points at halftime.
Nice. There you go. Okay, so Batman 2. It's a dark, grim place for us fans of
Please don't tell me it's another
fans.
delay. It can't be another delay.
It's not delayed yet. However, Robert Pattinson, I don't think it's official, but I believe he's in talks to be the villain in Dune 3, which starts filming this summer. So
how's that going to work out?
So the Batman is still slated for a 2027 fall release. So it's him filming in 2026 is not horrible. But I think what like kind of freaked people out when this news came out was, okay, if he's taking other jobs, that means he's not like prepping for something. And if he's not prepping for something, that means that he has nothing necessarily to prep for. And so everybody's just kind of like, we don't really have a lot of information. There's a lot of leakers that are saying like, and this is all like, these are from like the individual journalists, where like they have like connections and, you know, they connect their name to their brand. So there's like a little bit of reputation, or at least reputation that they risk when they talk about this stuff. But there's some people saying that like Matt Reeves has something going on in his life that has the movie at a halt right now. And somebody else said, and I'm just reporting this, somebody else said that Matt Reeves is dealing with a Chadwick Boseman like situation. Now, some other individual journalists called that guy out for it and said he was out of line, and some even said he was wrong. Like he had like
wrong.
Incorrect information.
Yeah.
So don't know, but obviously if that's the case, then the movie is not the important thing.
No, not at all.
You know, so, but I don't know, but we don't have any actual information, so we don't know. And a lot of people seem to be telling that dude, like, you're spreading misinformation. You need to stop. I think the main thing right now that everybody's kind of like at least hoping what the lack of communication is I think the future of DC is really banking on Superman and the success and how they move forward with the universe, because people say like, you know, oh, like we need to bring like Robert Pattinson needs to be the Batman of this universe, or like, you know, no, he can never, like we need to recast Batman. Right. Genuinely, what I think is like those decisions at the end of the day, like if money doesn't come in, if the success doesn't come in, those decisions are not left to James Gunn. Like those decisions are left to the people who sit at the top of the studio.
Right.
Which, if you've seen the show The Studio that's going on Apple Plus right now, it's incredible. Okay. I love it. Dara doesn't really like it, but it's a meta commentary. Well, what happened to my voice there? It's a meta commentary on that exact thing, that like you have these people. Bryan Cranston plays like the head of the studio, and he just makes decisions for money.
Yeah, because he answers to the shareholders.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's the whole thing. But Seth Rogen plays like the James Gunn, who like is running the day-to-day things, who wants to be the creative, who wants to, but he's the
artist.
Yeah, exactly. But the whole like conflict of the show is IP makes money, so make IP. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like this meta commentary on just like the current state of film and like how Marvel and, you know, Minecraft and like Super Mario, like these movies make $1 bajillion.
Yeah, I know.
But like all these like brand new, fresh ideas, like original scripts, they make hardly nothing. So like studios won't fund it. Anyways, I use that example to say like that's literally how these studios work, where it doesn't matter if James Gunn puts out something good, if it's not making money or they're getting slammed for it, then what the top people at Warner Brothers, what they're going to say, at least what I think they'll say is, okay, this Batman, successful, put him in your universe. And I think at that point, like your hands are tied. You can't do anything.
Right.
Because they're like this is going to save you. Even if it's a wrong decision creatively, like from like what we think and what James Gunn thinks, if the studio just sees it as like success and not success. So they're going to say, okay, bring this successful thing to this not successful thing, and you'll make it successful.
That's exactly the way it is. My friends who are in the industry, as producers and directors and stuff, they say, look, most of the movies that are made lose money. Most of them, the majority of them lose money. Where at least at the box office, they might recoup down the road with lots of different rights they might sell. But it's the blockbusters that give the studios permission to make the good movies that nobody sees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't go much in for the Oscars these days, but I never heard of half those movies.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they're good movies or not, but they didn't make money.
Yeah.
But the movies like you mentioned they're not really what you'd call high art.
Right.
But they're making even like Snow White, which everybody panned this way and back, is still grossing. I don't know if it's what the budget was, but it's still grossing in the multiples of hundreds of millions of dollars in the box office. Yeah. Even that movie that they basically were announcing dead on arrival, it still has ticket sales in the hundreds of millions of dollars because it's IP.
Yeah,
it's exactly what it is. It's all so. You know, we like to complain about these blockbuster movies that don't meet our expectations, but that's the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it goes back to the same thing you said to me years ago, a couple of years ago now, when, and I've told this twice now on the podcast, but when I was so frustrated with they kept coming out with the new Batman Spawn stuff, and I'm like, how many more of these are going to make? And your answer was, as many as you're willing to buy.
Yeah.
It's no different, just on a much grander scale in the movies.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you plug your money down and you went and you saw, I don't know, Madam Web, and you're bummed about it because you didn't think it was a good movie, and the most satisfaction you get out of it is to pan it online, that's fine. That's your right to do it. But at least you can take this much satisfaction. You helped fund the next one that maybe will be better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I think that's just my theory, is like, I imagine that they probably have a script. There's like rumors that a script is like done. So they probably have something ready where it's like, Okay, great. Superman's like really successful. Cool. Continue on with your Elseworld universe. Like we'll do our thing. But there's the off chance that it's like Superman maybe doesn't do as well as they think. Maybe it gets just slammed online, like from like general audiences, and they think it's not enough to carry like at a Marvel level, because that's what DC wants. They want to have the same like level of universe, and if that's the case, then they're gonna say, okay, rewrite the script. You're not putting it in this universe. That's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's true. I hope it's not that Matt Reeves is sick or
I'm really, truly.
or somebody close to Matt Reeves is sick. But I mean, if that is the case, like hope it just turns out well, and everybody gets well. But yeah, I guess I don't think we'll find out anything until Superman comes out. I think either way, I think that's kind of like what everybody's thought process is like.
Right.
I think when Superman comes out, I think we'll start to hear more things, because we just don't know. We don't know the tone of this universe. Like as much as I want to critique, like how I don't like how the trailer feels, nothing is said and done until the movie comes out.
One thing that's clear with the trailers of the Superman movie, and what little we hear from DC about it or Warner Brothers, it's clear, it's obvious that they're going for the feel good family movie of the summer.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And if they swing and miss, they're still going to make money.
Yeah.
But if they hit it, if they square this up, it's going to be a massive hit, because people are, like I've said before, don't you all just want to go to the movie and have it feel that way? Like it's been a while, and maybe a movie that everybody can just kind of rally around and have fun and enjoy. I think that could really hit at the right moment for everybody and be just a runaway hit.
Yeah.
Even if the movie's not great, it'll still be a runaway hit if it hits those emotional notes.
Yeah.
So I for one, am, despite some of the things about the trailers and that have been a little bit sus, I still think it's going to be an enjoyable movie. I do.
Yeah, I hope so.
Even if Green Lantern's haircut is outrageous, although it is very comic accurate.
Yeah.
So you can't really complain.
Yeah. All right. To keep it in the DC universe, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is currently filming.
Yeah.
And we got pictures on set of Lobo. Have you seen these?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. So this is Jason Momoa.
I mean, I feel like the person who came up with the design for Lobo back in the 90s had looked into the future and knew, because it's perfect.
Yeah, it is. So I'll throw this up on screen for you guys to see. But
I mean, he is Lobo.
Yeah.
He is. He doesn't have to do anything to be Lobo. That looks awesome.
Yeah, he looks real good.
So that explains why I was seeing his first appearance pop up on the hot list again.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And then
now there's a book I'm willing to sell on your claim sales.
Yeah, I still have it.
I don't have any great affection for the character. Not because I don't like the character, I just don't know the character, but I have the book.
There was some like brief pictures of Supergirl online, but I can't find them, and I don't want to spend too much time looking. So,
and the first Supergirl is still relatively cheap compared to a lot of things.
The other DC stuff.
I really think it, although it's been ticking up, obviously, I still think it's undervalued. I'd still put it as a not a sleeper, at least like a kind of snooze bar. Or I say snooze bar because that's my old alarm clock terminology, but it's like hitting the snooze button. It's not a total sleeper, but it's the half sleeper.
Yeah.
Snoozer.
Okay, so 3 years ago, announced in Hall H in 2022 at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel announced that Kang Avengers: The Kang Dynasty would be releasing May 2nd, 2025, which would have been next week. So somebody had went back and found the original tweet that Marvel made about this. That said, just announced in Hall H, Marvel Studios Avengers: The Kang Dynasty in theaters May 2nd, 2025. With a picture. Somebody went back, found that tweet, retweeted it, and said, "Next week, boys."
He wins the day on the internet for that. Yeah, and that's tough.
This other one, this is from a Twitter account called MCU The Direct, and they just post random news about MCU stuff. It says, official, the Fantastic Four will play a key role in Avengers Doomsday. Somebody retweeted that and said, the Fantastic Four playing a key role when the villain is Doctor Doom, fork found in kitchen.
I love it, man. That's classic. At least they got it right. At least they're looking in the kitchen. Yeah. I'm glad.
Last thing before we get into the FF trailer, because I have some thoughts, but this is really cool. Eben Moss Bachrach, who plays The Thing, also played Micro in the Punisher TV show, plays Cousin in The Bear.
The Bear.
He did an interview recently, and he said, "I think it's cool that Micro from Punisher is named David Lieberman, who takes his last name from Stan Lee, and then Ben Grimm is the Kirby amalgamation. It's a deep honor that I take to heart."
Oh.
So he's
Nice.
kind of playing the two. I mean, the two people that were kind of modeled after.
All right. Since you said Jack Kirby, I have to say this one. It's not show and tell. It was my runner-up show and tell this week. I remember when we cracked open the FF3, we showed the signature. I got it back from CGC, and the signature was authenticated.
Woo!
Not only was it authenticated, and I'll post this on my Instagram or something, old label with the new label. We didn't press it. We didn't do anything like that. Bumped from a 3.5 to a 4.0. Still a qualified green label.
Yeah.
But now comes back much more valuable. That 3.5 to 4.0 is a big jump in the price. It's like one of those price breaks. But now we suspected it was going to be an authenticated signature. But when we were at WonderCon, I showed somebody and I asked him what he thought because he'd seen a lot of signatures, and he's like, "Well, yeah, I don't know." He said it was about 50-50 because he thought something about the Y at the end of Kirby didn't quite look like the ones that they've authenticated before, and so. I wish I hadn't asked him because I spent the last month fretting about it.
He probably has to say that,
but he's not like working for CGC. He was just he was just a vendor, not just a vendor.
Oh.
He was a vendor at.
I see.
So he was honestly giving me his opinion, and I'm like, why did I ask? Because I was just so confident it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, it turned out it was. So I might just bring it next week. Can I bring like 2 or 3 show and tells next week, man? But anyway, sorry to sidetrack us on that, but I just wanted to tell, because I know you guys were all losing sleep about my FF3.
I can't wait to see it. That's for sure.
It looks great.
Okay, this FF trailer. Silver Surfer. We got Shalabal.
Silver Surfer. So first appearance is Silver Surfer 1, which no one's really talking about that. It's interesting.
Yeah, and there's another book that's got hot. It's from like the 90s, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it's like Earth X or something like that.
Oh, okay.
It's like the first time Shalabal becomes Silver Surfer.
Okay.
But I saw somebody say, like, people are getting mad. Like, I mean, I understand it both ways. I don't have like a deep connection to FF or to Silver Surfer, so I'm kind of like, I would have liked to see Norrin Rad, but I mean, it's not like I've read all the Silver Surfer. It's not like I've read any Silver Surfer comics.
Yeah.
I am going to read the one that comes out this summer. Silver Surfer Last Days. That looks cool. But for the first time in at least recent history, I agree with Rob Liefeld. Rob said, like, the fans, like, they deserve Norrin Rad. Like, they deserve the justice on Norrin Rad and the years of lore on Norrin Rad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think she looked cool. I think she looked a little uncanny. There was something about her eyes that were weird.
Yeah.
That looked like it looked like she had pupils, which made it look a little weird.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it not being Norrin Rad this time, only because we've had Norrin Rad and it wasn't very good. They didn't, Norrin Rad, if not played correctly, he's kind of a square. Let's be honest. Like he's if you're, I'm reading the Stormlight archives right now, the Sanderson, and the main character is kind of driven by honor. Like he's this code of honor is this big thing. That's Norrin Rad. Like he's got this honor code, and he can't, he's always brooding and conflicted because he's got to do the right thing, but the right thing sometimes can be the wrong thing, and it's it gets, unless you're actually going to throw him in the middle of the action beyond what we've seen already, there's not a lot you can do with that right now.
Yeah.
but I've been told that we're going to get, or I think we've all been told that Norrin Rad is coming to the MCU. We're going to get Norrin. So, and I don't want to take away from your thunder and your theories about FF, so I won't get too far in this, but whatever universe we're in that we're seeing the Fantastic Four in the 1960s, it's not the 616 universe. So the 616 Norrin Rad is the one we want. So this doesn't preclude that guy from showing up.
Yeah. Somebody had made some connections to that comic where she first becomes Silver Surfer. It's like Earth something, and they were basically saying this as a critique, like people who are mad about the gender swap, like this is proof you don't read comics because this is a Norrin Rad story. And so I won't spoil it, but if you wanted to go read the Earth X thing, you could. But so there is, I mean, potential. Like if they're taking from the story where she becomes Silver Surfer, like, I mean, Norrin Rad's on that cover as Silver Surfer. Yeah. So, there's definitely some story there and lore that they could be getting into. What I'll say is it's not the same motives that Norrin Rad had for why he became Silver Surfer. Like it's almost the same motives that Shia LaBeouf has, but in a little bit of a different context. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. It's got a lot of story to tell.
It hasn't stopped FF48 from spiking.
Yeah.
You know, which is nice.
Which, by the way,
49.
So you had this copy of FF48.
Yep.
And I traded you.
Yeah.
Because yours had some stamps and some writing. And so I sold it on my claim sale just before we left. And somebody got this book for a
unbelievable, crazy price because a lot of people suddenly, it became like the mission on that claim sale to get that book out of your hands and into somebody else's hands. Yeah. We had so many credits writing on them only on this one book. It wasn't like $100 on the next claim sale it was only for this one book, where suddenly the price was like $700 for in a 4.0 or something crazy like that.
I think the person paid out of pocket $750.
But the price that came to you was still like $900, right?
Yeah, I still got the close to what I asked. Yeah,
that's insane.
I think
great community, man. That was an elite claim.
It was crazy.
That was so fun.
Actually, no, I think you're right. They might have paid $700.
Yeah, I mean, it was because we were talking about it for so long. Like, this is an insane deal. I don't understand why this book is still on the wall. And then another credit would come through specifically tied to that book.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I mean,
it worked.
Kudos to them.
Yeah, so. and they scored. They got in on they got on the first floor, and it's already gone up to the third floor. Like great book.
Yeah,
I know it's not your favorite cover, but still a great book.
Yeah, it is. So the trailer. So, be honest with everybody here. I have more hope for FF than I do for Superman. But I think the Thunderbolts is going to be the best movie out of the three.
Wow. That's a hot take.
I couldn't stand Human Torch and Invisible Woman in this trailer. Their accents, because they're British, they have the worst American accents I've ever heard from British actors. And British actors... Everybody is good at an American accent because we dominate the content world. So our movies, our television, Friends, right? You talk about the global impact of Friends and just all of our movies worldwide. People are very familiar with our accent, which makes it easier for people to do American accents.
They've heard it a lot.
Because they grow up consuming our movies and television and music. I mean, shoot, our music is global. Right. So
true.
I couldn't, when he says you're late, he sounds so British to me.
That's so interesting. I didn't notice any of that at all.
No. Oh yeah.
But I guess I don't have an ear for it.
If we go back and
it didn't bug me.
Yeah. If we go back and listen or we'll put it on afterward on recording, you'll hear it. And then her response, it's the long vowels. It's the way that they draw out the vowels. And yeah, she does it too. And I couldn't stand it when I first watched it.
Wow.
And I was like, dude,
that's so funny.
If the whole movie is just this horrible accent, it is going to ruin the movie.
No, don't get hung up on it. I didn't even hear it. I thought Kirby's acting and moments in the trailers were the best part. Like the hurry. Now, and I'm not talking about her dialogue, but again, the dialogue that I just didn't notice it. But everybody has their things that they notice, right?
Yeah.
But for me, like when she's there's just a look she gives to Reed where she's like, you know, I can't do it. I'm not an actor. I'm terrible at that stuff. But she does something with her face that suggests some type of emotion in a very strong way a few times, and I thought she was absolutely the right choice to play this role. But perhaps, Joshua, you disagree.
You know what I did love about the trailer and what I have high hopes for in the movie is the Thing. I think he looks incredible.
Yep.
And it really seems like they're teeing him up for this really, it's like somber story, I guess you could say. Like
the trench coat story.
Yeah.
You know, where he's walking with the hat tilted down and he's walking this Yancey Street and is depressed because, you know, no one loves him because he's ugly. I mean, that's iconic early Lee and Kirby Ben Grimm right there.
Yeah.
This man, this monster, right?
Yeah. So I think that might steal the show. That's what I think. I think the Thing is going to steal the show.
Okay, then I have a like on the fly spec, not hot take, but spec sleeper right now. No extra charge for this one.
Go for it.
If you're right about that, and you're right way more than you're wrong about these movies and where they're going in the TV shows. So I would take this one to the bank. Then the great in between issue in the Fantastic Four mega run from say issue 44 and to 60. Like there's this run where they just have so many, like one key after another. Crazy. First Inhumans, first Black Bolt, first Galactus, Silver Surfer, first Galactus, first Black Panther, all this stuff, right? But it's issue number, wait, let me get it right, 54. Fantastic Four issue 54. It's after the Black Panther one and before the next Silver Surfer run picks back up. And it's that classic Kirby story, This Man, This Monster. And it's got great cover of the Thing, like just looking at himself with disgust. That book, people say that's one of the great stories of the Kirby Lee run. It's unbelievably undervalued.
Yeah.
Only because it's eclipsed by the books on either side.
Yeah.
But don't be blind to the fact that this book has its own merits. And it just had that story is recognized. If they explore this at all, I promise you this book will be on the hot list. Yeah. So you heard it here first. Get it while you can. I have it already. Yeah. And I'm not selling. Well, I'll sell anything for the right price. No, but that's definitely a book. If you're an FF collector, if you just want to speculate on some good Silver Age, I'd get that book.
Yeah. So yeah, that is a good cover. And I think I really think he's going to steal the show.
Well, I love when they have him like twirling the car.
Yeah.
And I know, I understand why people were concerned when the thing we really saw of him was in the kitchen of the first trailer, and his face, some people thought it looked a little too animated, a little too much like
it was his eyes. I think.
Something was required. But then when you see him in other scenes with the second trailer, he's got the hat on. He doesn't look, and he looks good. Yeah. And so that I think that set aside a lot of those concerns for anybody. With that. But no, he looks like he's the reason I love the Fantastic Four as a kid had so much to do with the Thing. Yeah. And this Thing, the way they're showing and portraying him in the trailers reminds me of that. Yeah. When that's a good thing.
Yeah. So you teased my my theory earlier.
Yeah. These guys got some theories.
I talked about it a couple weeks ago. So if this is your first time listening, if you made it this far, wow, we're an hour in, so thanks. Yeah. But my theory is that this movie is going to end with specifically Reed realizing that he can't save his world, and so he has to save his family instead. And so he saves his pregnant wife, and so he saves the FF and Herbie, hopefully Herbie.
Yeah, come on, Herbie.
And shoots them out into the multiverse. That was before this trailer came out. And then this trailer comes out, and I think it gave more I don't know what word I'm looking for, but
more fuel to the fire.
Yeah, more fuel to the fire that my theory I think is going to be right. So there's a couple things that I noticed that kind of help my theory, and then something that you pointed out. So for one, the journalists, they ask Reed, this is after Silver Surfer comes and says your world is marked for destruction. So obviously the world is turning to the FF because they're the only superheroes that are kind of existing in this world. It's turning to the FF. They're like, kind of, what are you gonna do? And so one of the journalists asks Reed, like, are what does he say? Are
we safe?
Yeah, are we safe? And he looks back, doubtful, and he says, I don't know. And then there's another scene later on in the trailer where was he on TV? I'm trying to remember the context.
Yeah, is it the one where he says we will protect you, or is it the other one? There's that's not the one. It's the second one, right?
No, I think it's the we will protect you.
Yeah, I think he's on TV.
Yeah, but he doesn't even look like he's fully confident in that. It almost looks like he's lying.
Yeah.
And then you pointed out how, like, especially in the beginning of the trailer, like how much they're being praised. Like, they're celebrities. Like when the Thing was walking down the street, the kids were like, lift the car.
Yeah.
And he was like, this one? All right. And then he like lifts the car up. And so they're celebrities, and they're being praised for being the superheroes of their world. And so you were saying like that adds to like the, these people love them. And then you tie that into my theory, and then they abandon you.
Whew.
So I think it, I don't know, the theory makes sense to me. I think it would be good. It would give you an Infinity War type vibe.
Yep.
Where these heroes don't win.
Yeah.
They have to make a decision. And then you added that it makes them complicated characters.
Yeah.
Which is always better than simple characters.
Yeah, right. And that's Marvel will be playing the long game with this story arc then, because character arcs, because I mean the title is First Steps, right?
Yeah.
And it can mean a lot of things, but we're going to be following these characters for a while. And what better way, according to your theory, and I hope you're right, because I think it's great storytelling. What better way to set us up for interesting character stories than have these guys walk into the second movie or wherever they appear, whichever movie, with that burden, whether or not they made the choice. Look, it's us. The Earth is gone either way, but so we're not going to die with them. Or they're thwarted from their chance and they just failed. Either way, the guilt's still there because they were beloved.
Yeah.
That makes it so interesting moving forward of what redemption arc, if at all, will they be on?
Yeah.
And they most definitely are on a redemption arc, and everybody loves a redemption arc.
Redemption.
Right? But I mean, because it's hard to root for characters that. And this is the problem with Superman. So it's hard to root for characters that never lose.
Yeah.
And so Superman does have weaknesses, but the Fantastic Four hasn't worked as a movie yet, and they always, in the span of just a 1-2 hour movie, defeat the enemy, even if it's Doctor Doom and they do it in 10 minutes with brand new powers, which doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So I'm up for it. I think it would be much more mature storytelling for them to do it that way.
Yeah. You make them vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like you make them vulnerable to Doom. Like, because as far as we know, RDJ's Doom is already operating on a multiversal level. So he's already probably peering into these worlds and knows what's going on.
I just remembered what was the moment that prompted that look from Sue toward Reed that I thought was done so well by Vanessa Kirby. It's when Reed says, and this also feeds into your theory, when he says, we did it. It's my fault. I reached out into the universe and somebody heard.
Yeah.
So they're celebrities of this world. They are really kind of invincible, and there is no other superpower of good or evil. So they just have the run of the place, and they're just out there having fun with it, not really thinking that they're playing with something a lot more dangerous than they realize, and they're going to they're going to get blindsided.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope you're right. I do. Even though that means it's going to be a dark ending, I actually hope you're right because we all know it's not that it doesn't all have to get done in one movie.
Yeah.
So they can take their time, which leads into, I know if we may not be ready to get there yet into the Daredevil series, and how that ended. But I would love them to do that with this movie to set us up for, because we'd all be like, let me get some popcorn for the second movie.
Yeah.
Like we'd want to follow these characters.
Yeah.
If they win, if they defeat Galactus again, and everybody's happy at the end, it could be a good movie, but there's nothing left to think about.
And that is honestly, that is what would make it beat Superman. Is in Infinity War, our heroes lost. Because I don't think Superman's gonna be a movie where Superman loses. If that's the case, that would be crazy. But you don't kick off you don't kick off a universe with Superman losing.
No, you can't.
Because then you just make Superman really weak to start, and you vindicate all of the Zack Snyder fanboys.
Yeah.
And you make all of them on the internet. You make them all right.
Yeah.
No. Everything they've said, they're correct.
No, they're all in on. It's a Christopher Reeves vibe movie.
Yeah.
I'm as certain as I can be that that's going to be the case.
Yeah. But people loved Infinity War because our heroes lost, and that, like, the reason why it can't happen in Superman is because Superman is starting a new universe. It was allowed to happen in Infinity War because it was 9 years into movie making, into this whole universe. And so finally it's something new and people love it. I think generally people just like the darker, grittier storytelling. I think that's why the Batman works, is because I mean, the question you ask at the end is like, did Batman win or did Gotham win? Like Gotham came together at the end.
Yeah.
Batman wasn't fully realized as himself until the end of the movie, when he realized like he can't be who he wants to be by being how he was being that whole time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he has to be something else for Gotham.
And Gotham lost at the end. Like the whole town was wiped. And when we saw him Penguin, like, I'm forgetting his name, but that kid's whole family died.
Yeah.
And like, so Gotham took a huge loss. So,
man,
yeah.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be satisfying. It's gonna resonate. We're gonna be, that's the beauty of the multiverse is, and to put it bluntly, you can have throwaway worlds. Like this world could perish. I mean, we'll feel it emotionally if that ends up if that ends up being the thing that happens, because we'll feel it through the characters of the Fantastic Four, or have to mourn that loss. So we'll feel it, but it's not like we lost our friends. It's a universe that was set up almost as a plot, almost as really a character device, and a plot device, but to get the characters momentum toward the redemption arc. I hope you're right, Joshua. I actually really think that's a great story.
So, and let me say this before we move on to Daredevil. I think what Marvel Disney should do after Secret War is done. So we have FF this summer. Next, I think spring is Doomsday, and then the year after that is Secret War. What I think they should do after that, because you're kind of gonna have like either like a mini reset or like a full reset after Secret Wars. Everything should go back to the 60s. We should be in a 60s world.
Yeah, sure.
And I think that's going to make you stand out as DC starts their universe in a modern world.
Yeah.
We've seen all the technology. We've seen all the different, nanotech, and we've seen this and that. I don't know how much more futuristic you can get. I think with the state of the world and the way kind of all just the global national interactions that are going on,
chaos.
Yeah, I think people want to exist out of their world.
Yes.
And so I think that's why when you make these movies that are like commentaries on like what's going on, I think people don't really like want to watch it. I think it's we're experiencing it. I don't want to experience it again.
No, I want to, think about something else.
Yeah.
Escape, whatever,
So if you put, if the whole universe resets to the 60s, I mean, you just, a different time that we're not from.
Yeah.
A fashion that we're not familiar with, or a fashion that we've only ever been nostalgic with. Just beautiful set. I mean, it worked with WandaVision, and the same guy that directed WandaVision is the guy directing Fantastic Four. So I think
I love the color saturation of the trailer, by the way.
Yeah.
They're giving it kind of a Art Deco 60s feel.
Yeah.
Just through the over saturation of color. I think it's very appealing.
Yeah.
And I want to spend time in that world. It looks fun. It doesn't look dark and dreary. It looks colorful and ripe for Galactus's picking, to be honest with you. It looks very fertile,
Yeah. So I think, shoot, can you imagine if James Gunn, if what he decided was we're going to kick off Golden Age, and it was like Superman in a Golden Age world, Batman in a Golden Age world.
Yeah, why not? You want to think about what that would do to the comic book industry, because you'd have a lot of these old stories, old covers. That would be really, really fun. Really fun. You want to talk about issues 1 through 10 of the Silver Age, what would happen for some of those stories? Because you have to tell some of those stories, right?
Yeah. And I think that's what worries people a little bit. Like when it comes to the X-Men, is like whenever, they're bringing back the original cast, but whenever they move forward with the X-Men, the worry is with Magneto. It's like the Holocaust is such an important, integral, vital part to his
whole psyche,
lore. And why he does what he does. And so even you introduce him in, I think Marvel's like in the late 2020s, maybe early 2030s, and they want to cast a younger X-Men, so that would put probably it would probably be the same as like when they had Fassbender and I'm blanking on the other guy's name, when they had Fassbender as Magneto, probably be like they'd probably cast at the same age, maybe a little bit older. But in the 2030s, that means that he was born in the 80s, probably. So it's like,
yeah, you're stuck.
Yeah, and even then, like there's been talks of like people debate this heavily online, is like casting like Giancarlo Esposito, Gus, as Magneto, and then flipping it into a civil rights story. But a lot of people kind of disputed that, where it's like, no, like his Jewishness and from the Holocaust is like very important.
Yeah.
To him as a character. So if you go back to the 60s, you don't have that problem really. So
no, you don't.
And just to see, honestly, to see a Spider-Man movie in the 60s, a Daredevil show or movie in the 60s,
that would be really fun.
Be cool.
It would be so fun.
That would be cool. So
well, I'm here for all of it, and we'll see what happens, right? But yeah, we got a lot of good things coming in a very short amount of time.
Yeah. All right, Daredevil. Last episode. We don't have to spend much time on this.
Yeah, I'll just say a couple things. First off, you can answer this question for me. They shot a bunch of pickup scenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this last episode, and as well as the episode before, those were not pickup scenes, right? Those were the originally shot scenes, right?
No, those were brand new reshot.
Okay.
So episodes 1, 7 and 8, or 8 and 9. I don't remember how many episodes it was. But episode 1 and the last 2 episodes were complete reshoots.
Okay. All right. Then my criticism will have to stand then, unfortunately. Okay. I have loved the series, and I still love the series. But I didn't want to have a problem with it, but I couldn't help it because it just came crashing through the screens so severely. The last scene of the last episode was just too political for me. It was so political. And I thought, well, I mean, it's consistent with the story. By political, I mean, it just had too many parallels to modern politics. And I thought, well, it is setting up, the Kingpin's story as of Devil's Reign. And so that's all accurate, comic book accurate. However, and so I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt, but then I remembered I'm dealing with Disney, and they do get very political when they can. And I just thought, this whole, we're going to resist the kingpin. And, there's like this whole speech in this thing. It felt like I was watching a 2020.
Oh, when he was in the bar?
Yeah. And I just felt like I was watching a 2025 protest somewhere, and I'm not even going to get into politics.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I don't like politics and I don't want to get into politics, and I don't want it getting into my awesome Daredevil series.
Yeah.
And I might've been reading into it. That's why I wanted to ask you. So I thought, well, no, I mean, if this was shot like, it just felt so contemporary to a lot of the stuff I see, just even when I don't want to see it on the political side. So that was the only thing. And it just came at the very end. The only thing that bugged me, it did not ruin it for me. It did not sour it for me, because it's been amazing. I thought Bernthal was, and I mentioned this in a Twitter or Instagram conversation I had, was indeed perfect as Frank Castle. And that scene where he's just getting beat up and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to join you. You're like, of course he's not going to join them. Like he's going to kill them. Like he may not do it right now, but he will kill them. And then we get that little scene at the end, where he breaks the guy's arm in half, literally breaks it in half. But I thought he was great. I thought the whole Heather Glenn storyline, and you can talk about that, was really compelling. Like where is that going?
Oh,
I know you have theories on that one.
Did I tell you my theories yet? Or did you see it on Twitter?
I saw it on Twitter.
Okay.
And I resisted because I hadn't watched it yet. I had to wait a couple days before I could actually watch the final episode. And the whole thing is a setup for the next season.
Yeah.
Which is cool because it didn't resolve anything. The whole episode, every single episode of the series has built to prepare us for season 5. And I'm down for that. I'm down for it. I'm up for it. I'm sideways for it. All of it.
Yeah. So about the political stuff, I mean, people have been saying, sometimes I feel like people are reaching too far into it and like drawing too hard a comparison, where even D'Onofrio has said on Twitter, like, this is not, I was not inspired by anybody.
Yeah.
He could be lying, but to be like, to say he's lying, I think is rude.
Yeah.
Like,
I believe him.
Yeah. If that's what he says, that's what he says. Yeah. Like, so, I'm not gonna debate him and say like, oh well,
right,
like this and that. Like, that's what he says. That's what he says. I'm not gonna reach for something that I want to see or don't want to see, which I think a lot of people still do. So there's that, and yeah, the storyline, is from the mayor thing is from like 2014 or something like that. Yeah. And then the Devil's Reign is from like 2017. So maybe 2018. But I didn't really get that vibe I think maybe that's just because D'Onofrio tweeted it before the last, I mean, he tweeted like mid-season.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't really draw conclusions. Also, like, it's a reach. Like the protest stuff, like, fine, there's always people like protesting.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't have a leader who's smashing people's heads in behind closed doors.
No, like, and we don't have martial law.
Yeah. So
you're right. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And it was really just the speech in the last, I mean, really, what was it? The last 45 seconds of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's not inaccurate to what you would expect Matt and Frank or whoever, Karen, to be thinking about what Wilson Fisk has unleashed upon New York City. So, it could easily be, I could easily be wrong about it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's art too. So it's like, if that's what people want to see and that's how it's going to resonate for them, then
and definitely there are going to be people who see it and agree with me and are happy to see it and like it. So I mean, whatever, right? That's why I say that was a thing, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, because I just don't let political stuff ruin things for me.
I
because
prefer
it's lame to do that.
I prefer my political commentary and protests and music, not
Yeah.
in television and movies. Music like operates as like an escape and just like real life. Like there's a lot of music that you listen to. I mean, just in general, like whether it's like if you're religious, whether it's like, your worship songs or if it's other music tied
Folk
to your
music,
religion.
Dylan in the 60s or whatever.
Yeah, that just like kind of what about like the like religion stuff, like stuff that just like gives you like helps give you hope and like motivation.
Yeah.
And whether that be like music that's tied to your religion or whatever it may be, or if it's like if politics is your whole life, then yeah, maybe it's Dylan type music and just
Right.
like music that came out of the 60s. Like and so and other times like music can be an escape, like it can bring you into a whole nother world.
Yeah.
But I feel like movies, I feel like generally it's like you're intentionally escaping. Like
Right.
you're not going into a movie to be like, okay, what do they have to say about my modern politics in the country that I live?
Yeah.
And so it can be too much of a distraction, because it is. I don't know. It's a fantasy world. Like you don't
Right.
want it. You don't want it to exist too close, whether you're for or against it.
Right.
Like you don't. You just you want it to be different. Like and so if it's, I don't know. Like I said earlier when we were talking about whatever it was that I made the connection to, it's like you just don't want it to be too similar, because it's like then what is your like escape? Then
Right.
what's the point of fantasy? What's the point of superheroes? Like
Yeah, exactly. And so for me that's really what it came down to is and I can't really answer it. So it's all speculation. And so being that it's all speculation, I refuse to let it taint the series for me. And the question was, well, was Disney intentionally trying to politicize it or not? And I don't know. And I'm not going to dwell on it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to ruin it for me, because it was so much fun. I loved it,
Yeah.
And it won't ruin it for me. It didn't ruin it for me. But since we're here talking about it, I thought I would mention
sure.
it, but also we do live in a time where certain political movements and things like that, they're so it's like a Jupiter in our universe. It's got so much gravity that you almost can't get anything past it without it being bent toward it somehow. It's very difficult right now. So my hope is that we can get past all that stuff. But meanwhile, it was a heck of a show, man.
Yeah,
it was
so
a heck
good.
of a show.
I loved it.
It's still up there with Penguin for me. It didn't come off that level. I would say it's it's tough. I maybe like technically speaking, Penguin slightly better because of the performances and maybe just the story was just a little bit more. But what evens it out for me is my absolute love for the character Daredevil and Matt Murdock as a favorite, even more than Batman. And Batman's like my number 2. Like, Fantastic. Well, this is my top 3. So they're neck and neck, which is saying a lot, because I didn't think I would ever feel that way after watching Penguin, because Penguin was peak.
Yeah. What was I was about to say? Oh, I was gonna make a joke that Penguin's political too, because remember when Penguin's sitting in the council chamber seat, the top seat.
Oh man, I got to go back and now it's ruined for me. No, I'm just kidding.
Art imitates life, which somebody might say as a rebuttal to what we say, but
true.
Sometimes art imitates life, yes, but sometimes I feel like art is more prophetic. So it's like if you want to talk about the connections, like you could say like Devil's Reign was like prophetic. If that's like a route you wanted to go down.
Yeah.
I think that's a totally different conversation that you can definitely have.
Yeah.
But anyways, 3 things about this Daredevil show.
Yes.
So let's leave the politics behind and now get into this world a little bit.
All right.
So everybody, actually I'm gonna save that for the last one. So I'm gonna go in reverse. Heather Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my theory that I haven't seen anybody talk about on the internet. So I think this is my theory and my theory alone. I think she's gonna be Typhoid Mary.
Talk about it. Tell us why.
So her situation with Muse is a traumatic situation.
Yes.
Where she was probably going to be S-Aid. Yeah, that's probably what was going to happen. And then murdered after. So even to not even like experiencing that is one thing, surely. But to even be on the cusp and like rescued from that, it is not to like take away from like the mental damage that that can do to just your mental health. And so, she, Matt tells her like Daredevil saved you. She's like, no, I saved me. So she's going down this route of, self-sufficiency. And then at the end of the show, Kingpin hires her as the what was the something of mental health
liaison for health and
mental health. It was like mental health
in the city or something like that. So now she's in a position of power.
And the mental health thing is important is because Typhoid Mary, I believe, has DID, which is what Moon Knight has. So I think with that situation that she experienced with Muse, and then, all you need is a traumatic situation. Like we saw in episode 5 of Moon Knight. Yeah. It was his brother dying, the years of the emotional abuse from his mom dying, and then just like the pinnacle of all of that, it broke his mental, and then now he has DID. So as soon as you start working with Kingpin, your life is headed downhill. Yeah, fast. Like you
and Matt warned her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's going to be ironic that she's the leader of mental health or whatever the position was.
Where she's headed is nowhere good. That's clear. Like that's been prophesied by Matt.
Yeah.
And she's denying it. But all of us sitting in the audience, we can see her careening into a brick wall. We don't know what that brick, but you've got a really good theory on that.
Yeah. So and that you're either headed to death or corruption when you work with Kingpin.
Yep.
With Fisk. So I think for her, it's going to be corruption. I think her mental is going to break at some point, and she's going to snap, and she's going to become Typhoid Mary. In Devil's Reign, Typhoid Mary and Fisk are actually married. And so we know also.
Oh my gosh.
We know also that Vanessa put the hit on Foggy with Bullseye. So Bullseye now has kind of a big reason to want to take out Vanessa.
Yeah.
Because Kingpin survived and everything's being outed. And I think they definitely showed he was messed up. He was drugged out of his mind in that mental hospital.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a lot of reason to look back and see the abuse that he suffered at her hands. Mm-hmm. And, he'll be off the drugs and he'll be like, all right, time to get her.
Yeah.
And he will. And then, I don't know. Maybe
that's seriously dark.
So, yeah.
I feel bad for Fisk though. No, I don't.
Yeah. So I think I could definitely see it. They were really, it wasn't just like, she works in mental health and then that's it. It's like really important to her character.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's coincidence that one of Daredevil's villains has a mental health. Bullseye also has a mental issue, but Typhoid Mary, it's like specifically diagnosed, So
these are the types of villains and storylines that we want to see from the street level heroes. Not fighting cosmic enemies, but fighting street level enemies, including internal enemies like mental health issues, and it's par for the course with these characters. So why not?
Yeah,
it fits.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing. You talked about it, the Punisher breaking the arm. So we know that we have the Punisher special presentation that's coming out next year, which will be similar to the Werewolf by Night. So about an hour long, maybe a little longer.
I love that format, by the way.
Yeah. And John Bernthal's actually writing it. So he'll be writing it. But what I think would be cool, so we saw Swordsman is in the is caged up. And he looked confident when he was sitting there. He didn't look bothered.
Not at all.
Yeah. So I think what's going to happen is Punisher is going to break out. I'm not sure he's going to break everybody out because a lot of that is like corrupt rich. So I'm not sure. He might just be like, yeah, you deserve this to some of them. But I think what would be cool is a buddy cop film with him and Swordsman.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
Yeah. And it would, I mean, that actor is incredible. Like they have not utilized him. I'm blanking on his name right now. But if you've seen Better Call Saul, he gives Giancarlo Esposito a run for his money as best villain in that universe.
I need to watch Better Call Saul. I don't know why I haven't done it yet because anyway.
So like Giancarlo Esposito is like this really like cold villain, right?
He's ice cold.
Man, I'm forgetting the character's name in Better Call Saul. He is like almost like happy-go-lucky and just like less afraid. You know, like Gus wants to be clean about things and he wants to make sure that things kind of are done and can't be traced. His character almost doesn't care about that and still somehow gets away with it. So it's just, it makes him, he's frightening, like, because he's always smiling, he's always laughing.
Yeah.
So Marvel has yet to really utilize what that actor is capable of, and I think you pair him up with Punisher, I think it could be fun, and it would be really comic-esque. Like
we haven't had it's been 30 years since Lethal Weapon came out. That's kind of started the buddy cop modern version of it. The Mel Gibson and Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Loved those movies.
Yeah.
They were like classics.
Yeah.
We need another one. Like they've done Big Bad Boys with Will Smith and what am I forgetting his name? But
Martin
anyway,
Lawrence.
Yeah. But they're always done. That would be they haven't done that with the comic books yet. Not really, right?
Yeah, and Marvel has like, I mean, you have Marvel Team Up, and then you also have like most recently like Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon comic team up. So it's like, I think it would just be like really
Dr. Doom and Rocket Raccoon. That's awesome.
I think I just think it would be cool to see Swordsman and Punisher. I hope it's not like he breaks everybody out and then like Swordsman's like kind of giving his case for why Frank should break him out, and then Frank breaks him out, and then you don't see Swordsman for the rest of the thing. Like, I hope at least for some of it.
Look, I've been so excited by the Punisher character in the ways he's been portrayed in the Daredevil season that I've been jonesing to get my hands on an ASM 129. I know it's crazy because they're expensive and it violates all my kind of rules about big dollar books because they're not that rare. I used to own a copy a long time ago, but you know, I'm enjoying it so much that I want to have a piece of it. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah. I know it makes sense. FOMO. I mean, even if it doesn't go up in value, I just want to have it. I just want to say, I like the character. Anyway, and I'm staring at, you've got this cool rug. You guys can't see it, but he's got this cool rug with covers, and ASM 129 is like right in my eye line.
And then you got it right over my head.
The glare is protecting me from the lust of the eyes on this angle, but I got it here.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be gotten at a mid-grade for a decent price. Yeah. But anyway, enough of that.
All right, last thing, because I really got to use the restroom, so we got to break.
We're gonna fight for it.
All right, so the meme coming out of Daredevil was, "Where in the world is Spider-Man?" Because you can't tell a grounded story without Spider-Man, and we know that Spider-Man is like living in the center of Manhattan because when he swung out of his window, he was right there at Rockefeller Center. So he's living in Manhattan. So there was so many memes of like, yo, what's Spider-Man doing while Kingpin's like doing this? And there was a video of like Kingpin, the words were like, you know, Kingpin destroying Manhattan and killing and like corrupt cops taking over the city. Meanwhile, Spider-Man, it's like a video like this dude wakes up, looks at his clock, and then goes back to bed. just like all these memes of like Spider-Man not caring. Obviously, there's rights rules that are part of it.
That's
like
hilarious.
You know, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, so they say that he can't be in live action TV shows, which, you know, because different for him because he was owned by Fox, Punisher. and same with Daredevil. They were owned by Fox, so Marvel owns the full rights. But Kingpin, because Kingpin made his first appearance in the Amazing Spider-Man title, and he wasn't owned by Fox. He was shared by Fox and Sony in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, but still owned by Sony. So he's still owned by Sony, and Sony says that they can't use Kingpin in a movie unless approved. So he's stuck to the Daredevil show because of like the shared. It's
so
like
they can never be together, Kingpin and Spider-Man.
Yeah, so he's the rights to Kingpin are shared by Fox and Sony, but Sony has final rights over it.
Okay.
So they say he can't be in a movie unless it's like, you know, the storyline that they put forward. However, in that last sequence, I don't think quite. I have to go back and watch. I've been able to access YouTube for the last 2 weeks, but apparently, like in those last couple minutes of the show, Spider-Man's theme song plays.
Oh,
somewhere in the end there. So, and somebody from the show said not for nothing.
Oh,
so
that would be, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you can't say that. Like,
don't tease us that way.
The internet will kill you if it's not, if it doesn't come true, because everybody wants to see Spider-Man and Daredevil team up, not Matt and Peter. We've already seen that team up. We want to see the team up, and we want to see it against Kingpin. So don't tell us not for nothing if
please.
It's going to be nothing.
That would be epic. It would be so good.
So I think,
I hope so.
We'll see.
I mean, it's just, it's nice to have, you know, the good product to talk about.
Yeah.
And we've gotten it, this last few things we've seen on television from both DC and Marvel have been like at that level. So I feel like the tide has turned, you know. We went through kind of a barren season, but they've kind of reset maybe on both sides of this thing, and we're getting really good stuff. And I'm up for a war. I want to see a war between Warner Brothers and Disney, or Marvel and DC on TV and movies, where they're trying to one up each other like they were doing in the 70s and 80s in the comic books.
Yeah.
Competition just raises the level of everybody.
Yeah.
And we all win, right?
Yep.
Sweet.
People are saying why Sony. I mean, the amount of views that a Daredevil show would get if Spider-Man was on it. Why Sony won't approve that, but meanwhile they'll approve Madam Web, Craven, Morbius. But it's like you won't approve what people actually want to see.
Based on what you had said earlier about the money running the show when it comes to these big productions, they won't resist it for much longer, because it's just talk about blue chip. Like everybody wins. Everybody's going to make money if they put Spider-Man and Daredevil together.
Yeah.
Everybody's making money. Everybody's happy. Everybody's buying merch. Everybody's going to see the movie 6 times and then getting the Blu-ray or whatever. It's going to happen.
There's a theory right now. If you keep up with the non-collecting side and like you read, you know, new issues, or you've been reading Spider-Man the last several years, Spider-Man comics have been notoriously bad for the last like decade or so, maybe even longer. And there's now theories that people are like kind of coming out, because most recently they made MJ the all new Venom.
Yeah.
And the people are not, general audience readers are not happy about it. And so the theories that have come out basically since then is Marvel is intentionally tanking Spider-Man
my gosh.
on the comic side to hopefully devalue it, so that when it comes to negotiations to getting the rights back, they might get it at a cheaper price. But I mean, I don't think it's really affected.
That's a big gamble, man. You're tanking your number one IP.
Yeah. So I don't know that I can fully support that theory. There are some Spider-Man writers who I think are just not good, but at the same time, there's probably some, you know, if the theory's not right, then you have some writers who've put a lot of time and effort into
getting paid to be bad. Wow.
Yeah. So
man, that's
like,
tough.
man, I don't want to, I mean, if your writing is bad, I'm sorry, but
if that's me, I'm using a pen name for sure.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's it.
Yeah. Great to be back and hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, we're gonna take a bathroom break and then we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care.
I didn't say this at the beginning. Catch us on Instagram. I'm at Spros_comics at Mr. Peter Longbox, and we'll see you next week.
Take care
for Thunderbolts. Bye.